Hello guys, so welcome back to this tutorials. In our previous video, we were able to complete designing our database for our point of sale application. And in this video, we'll be setting up our Visual Studio solution for the point of sale application. Let's jump into it. Now, this is how we want our solution to be. So we want to divide our solution into two. So we'll be having the domain layer and the client layer. Now, the domain layer is where our business logic will be and our database also will sit. Now, we have different types of structuring your project. So this one, I'm trying to do it in a very simple way to make it easy for you. So in our domain layer, we'll be having a data class library and repository class library. So in our data class library, what we'll be focusing on is that is where our entity framework, that is our database first solution will be. So in our data side, we'll be focusing on connecting to the database and talking to our database. That is where our data layer will be. And the whole reason is that we don't want, in a case where our data layer will be interacting directly inside our repository layer. So we want to split our data layer in a different solution and in different layer. And another reason is that we want to be able to connect our repository to any other data. So for example, if this our data here is tied to Microsoft SQL, we should be able to have another data that will be tied to, let's say, Oracle. We should have another data layer that should be able to tie to, let's say, a text file, any data source we want to connect to. That is why we are separating our data layer. Now, in the repository layer, that is where we'll be focusing on doing the CRUD operation. So like creating, inserting to database, selecting from a database, updating a database. So that is where our repository will be. And also we'll be doing a little bit business logic inside our repository. Most developers split this repository into interfaces, then domain layer, like for example, business logic, I should say. So in this particular one, we don't want to complicate things. So we want to do it as simple as possible. So we will split our layers into business layer 2 or domain layer 2, data and repository. Now we will also be having client layer. And inside our client layer, that is where our users will interact with our system. So we will be having desktop layer, desktop project, and we also have a web project. So for the desktop project will be where the tellers will be interacting with our system, making sales and so on. And also on our web UI, that is where we'll be focusing on clients being able to purchase product online. So with our desktop again, we'll be focusing on Windows Form application, and inside our web UI, we'll be also focusing on ASP.NET MVC. So now let's go straight and open our Visual Studio. So with our Visual Studio, we'll be creating new projects. Note if you are using, I'm using Visual Studio 2019. So if you are using other version, where you see the create new will be different from mine. So let's click on create new project. And let's search for blank solution, blank solution, blank solution. So let's go through and we will see blank solution. There's it. So let's double click on it. And I want to save my own in here and name it POS Sorry, let's make it capital letters. So POS. So I already have it there, so I want to delete the old one I have there. So let's click on create. Now that's what I'm expecting you to have. So you have a solution without any project. So you realize that here we are having 0 projects. And that is exactly what we are interested in. So let's go back and check our diagram. So in our diagram, we have domain layer. And inside the domain layer, we are having POS.data. So let's go straight and create a class library called POS.data. So to create class library, you just click on the solution, right click, go to add, and you go to new project. And in here, remember we'll be looking for class library. So class library, and we are interested in C# class library. Also, note very careful that we are interested in .NET framework. So we have class library for .NET framework, and we have another one for .NET Core, and we are interested in the .NET framework. So click on it and go to next, and let's name it POS.data, just like what we have here. So what you have to know that all these ones are class libraries. This and this, they are all class libraries. So let's go ahead and click on create. Now, this is what we are interested in. So we are having our first class library. And by default, I don't know why they always give you default class. We are not interested in it. So let's right click on it and delete it. We are not interested in it. Okay. So now we have our first class library. So let's create the other one. That is POS.repository. So we go again, click on the solution, right click, go to add new project. Then let's name it POS.repository. Let's go to create. Let's delete it. Now, it's left with our client layer. So in our client layer, we have two, that is POS.webUI and POS.desktop. And again, I said that with our desktop, we are interested in Windows Phone application. So let's go again on click on the solution, right click, go to add new project, the same process. Then we come here and we search for Windows Forms. And that's what we are interested in. So we are interested in Windows Form application. We click on it and we should name it POS.desktop UI. And we click on create. So nicely, we have our desktop UI here. Let's go again and work on the POS.web UI. So again, we go straight, click, right click, go to create new project, and we search for ASP.NET MVC. Now, so if you are using older version of Visual Studio, your UI might be different. So you can search for ASP.NET MVC and you find it. And that's where I'm finding my own. There's it. So we go to next and POS.web UI. Let's go back and check the name. Yes, web UI. So we go straight and click on create. Now we are interested in MVC. So I'll click on the MVC. I'll leave all these settings to default. If you are using other version, you might not see it in this way. And here it's saying that configure for HTTPS. If you are using other version, this one will not be there. So let's just leave it as such. And the authentication, we want to set as no authentication. Now let's go to create and create our web UI. Now, we have to link our layers. So you can see that in here, the POS.repository is accessing data from the POS.data. And our client here, this web here, is accessing data from this one, from the repository and the data. Same applies to the client. And the main reason why we are splitting this, the domain and the client, is that we don't want to have all these ones inside the desktop UI. So for example, we can have our projects, we can have all of them in here, we can have all the code inside this project. But the disadvantage is that at the end of the day, if you want to use the same logic or your code in the web, it will be very difficult. That is why we have split the data and the repository so that we can access our code from any client layer we want to use. So for example, later if you want to add a mobile UI to it, you can just add it to your client layer and still access the same code. Good. So now this is our web UI. So our web UI is done. So we will close it because for now we will not be focusing on the web UI. So now we have been able to set up our solution. So first of all, we will be connecting to our database from this POS.data. But as you can see, the POS.data is boarding. So what it means is that the main reason why it has been is black, is like you can see that it has been highlighted, is that this one is the startup project. So it means that anytime you click on start, this one will run. And as we know, this is a class library, and class library cannot be a startup project. So we want to make the desktop UI as a startup project. So normally, client layers should be the startup layers, startup projects. So this one, we can set the desktop UI as startup project, or we can set up the web UI as a startup project. And Visual Studio has a nice way of organizing your code. So just like how you see it here, we have our client layer here and we have our domain layer here. Visual Studio can help you to organize your code in that format. So I want to take the advantage to teach you how to do that. So let's click on our project and right click and go to add. And this time around, we want add new solution folder. This is not an actual folder. This is just like virtual folder. So for example, I'll click on my solution and go to open folder in File Explorer. So it's to give me where my file is. Now you can see that we are having data, desktop UI, repository, and web UI, just like what we are having here. 1, 2, 3, 4. But now I want to create a folder in a Visual Studio using the new solution folder. So let me click on it and use domain layer, something like this. And let me create another one and call it clients layer, just to organize my files. Now, you think that this one will create folders, but this is not creating any folder. This is just creating a kind of groups for you to be able to group your project in here. So I go back to my file where my folder is, and you realize that there is no folder like clients layer and domain layer. So what it means is that it's just a way of grouping your file inside the Visual Studio. So I can easily click and hold my data to the domain layer and click and hold my repository inside the domain layer, and also click on these two projects and move it to my clients layer. So now you realize that we have been able to group it the same as what we have in here. Okay. And you see that it's the same thing here. So you can collapse it and it's looking very nice. Good. So the next thing we want to do is to connect our database to our project using database approach of the entity framework. So to do that, what we have to do is that we have to use the code first, database first approach to connect to our database. So to do that, let's just click on the POS.data, right click, go to add, go to new item, and search for entity framework. We are looking for this one. And let's call this. And again, depending on the version of Visual Studio you are using, this one might be different. So let's click on this one and type, name it POS model. Let's name it POS model. And let's click on add. Let's go to next. Now, if this is your first time doing this, you won't see anything here. So let's go straight and click on new connection. And what we are doing here is that we are trying to access our database. That is our POS database, what we did in the first video. Again, if you haven't watched that video, you can go back to our first video and do that. So this is the database we are working with, what we did in our first video. So to connect to our database, you just press dot, or we can type localhost. Now let's use the dot. Automatically, this one will connect to our database and to open all our database. So let's select POS. Let's check if our connection is successful, and as you can see, everything is working nicely. And let's click OK. Now we have it has created our connection string and everything. So we are having our connection string here. So the next thing we do is that we just click on next. And of course, you want to use entity framework 6. Depending on the version you are using, might be different. So let's go to next. Let's check all our tables. Of course, now we don't have any stored procedure, so you can leave it. Then let's go to finish. This might take few minutes depending on the system you are using. So okay, so this is what we are having. So this is what we call code database first approach. So now we are having our model here. We can close this now. And we expand it, and you can see that we are seeing all our tables inside this one. We are seeing our customer here. We are seeing our products. We are seeing all this. So so far so good. We are getting there. So now we have been able to set up our entity framework, which is very good. Now we have been able to also set up our repository and everything. So the next thing we do is that we do the referencing. Now we can see that the repository depends on the data. So let's do that. So to do that, we just click on reference, click on add reference, and we check the data, because from here we see that the repository is referencing from the data. So we just click on OK. So now as you can see that this your repository is now referencing the data. Let's go back and check our referencing. Now our clients, the Windows the web UI is referencing from the POS repository and the data repository. So let's go ahead and do that as well. Let's go to our client, right click on this one, come here, right click, go to add reference, and we are checking this and this. Click OK. So now you can see that it's referencing the two. Let's do the same for our desktop UI. Great. So now we have been able to do the referencing and everything is fine. So far so good. We are on track. So the next thing we will do in our next video is we will try and learn how to push our solution to GitHub, so that for any reason, if we lose our project in our local machine, we can have access to it in our GitHub project. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. See you.